everyone! My name is Miss Greco, and today we are going to be talking about whole numbers and equivalent fractions and how the two relate to each other. So let's go ahead and get started. So as you can see on this slide, we are going to be using a number line to help us figure out equivalent fractions. And for those of you who need a review, an equivalent fraction is a fraction that might look different from another one, but has the same value. So in terms of our number line on your screen, equivalent fractions will appear at the same point on the number line because, like I said, they have the same value. They are equal, even though they look a little different. All right, so let's go ahead and try to see how many equivalent fractions we can find just between 0 and 1. And we might not get all of them, but we'll get some of them. So I'm going to start off by splitting this number line into two equal parts. And that means that in between 0 and 1, I will have one fraction, and that one fraction is going to be 1 over 2 because we split the number line into two parts. Another way to say 1 over 2 is 1/2. So when we split this number line into two equal parts, we will have our midpoint 1/2, and then we can also have another fraction over here that is 2 over 2. Because if you start at 0, you can go 0, 1 over 2, 2 over 2. Or 0, 1/2, 2/2. All right? And it doesn't matter which way you choose to say it, they're still on that number line. So now let's try to see what happens if we split each half in half again. So it won't be a number line that is split into two equal parts. It will be a number line that is split into 4 equal parts, like this. All right, now let's go ahead and label each of these points and see if we can find any equivalent fractions. So our first point will be 1/4, then 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4. I already see two fractions that are at the same point on this number line. Here in the middle, we have 1/2 and 2/4 at the same point on this number line, which means that both fractions have to be equivalent. They are equal in value. So 1/2 is equal to 2/4. Now, let's see if we can do that one more time. Split each of our parts into a half again, meaning that our number line won't be in 4 equal parts. Our number line will now be in 8 different parts. All right, so let's split it and it'll look like this. And now let's go ahead and label each of those points on our number line. 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, 8/8. All right, and now there are way more equivalent fractions on this number line, right? We have these equivalent fractions, 1/4 and 2/8. We have these equivalent fractions, 1/2, 2/4, and 4/8. We have these equivalent fractions, 3/4 and 6/8. And we also have these equivalent fractions. We have 2/2, 4/4, and 8/8. All right? And what's interesting about those fractions on the end that we just talked about, these ones, is that they all are one whole because they're at the 1 spot on the number line. So each of these numbers are equivalent. They are equal in value. So coming back down here, we can say that 1/2 is equal to 2/4, and it is also equal to 4/8. Looking over here, we can say 2/2, 4/4, and 8/8 are equal to 1 whole. They are equivalent fractions. They are at the same point on the number line. All right, let's keep going. So on this slide, we have an example that comes from a book called Full House by Dale Ann Dodds. And if you have a chance to read the book, I highly recommend it. It's a great story. But I'm just gonna give you an example today. So in this book, there's a little old lady who lives in a hotel. And there are 6 available rooms in the hotel. When she's by herself, she is 1/6 of the hotel. All right? 1 out of 6 available rooms in the hotel are being taken up when she's there by herself. When someone else comes, 2 of the 6 available rooms in the hotel are taken up. Someone else, 3 of 6 rooms are taken. Someone else, 4 of 6, and so on, until the whole hotel is full when 6 guests are at the hotel. 6 rooms are full out of 6 available rooms. And this example shows that when 6 rooms are taken out of 6 available rooms, 1 full hotel is the end result. All right? So when you have a fraction that has the numerator with the same number, the same value as the denominator, it is equal to 1 whole. 6 parts over 6 parts is equal to 1 whole. All right? Let's show another way to think about this. So over on the left of your screen, I have a square. And this square is our 1 whole. It's an image to show 1 whole. Now, I want to split this whole into parts, into 2 equal parts. And I'm going to do that by just sliding those parts over to the other side of the screen. Here I have 1/2 and 2/2. 2/2 makes up 1 whole because that fraction would be 2 over 2. All right, going on to the next example. This whole is going to be split into 3 equal parts. 1, 2, 3 equal parts. I didn't do anything to those rectangles when they slid across the screen. They just moved. They are still 3 equal parts. All right? So when you have 3 thirds, each of these is called a third, and there are 3 of them. 3 thirds is equal to 1 whole. Those fractions are equivalent. All right? Again, with fourths this time. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4. When you're splitting 1 whole into 4 equal parts, then 4/4 is equal to 1 whole. All right, and one more time, this time with 6ths. So this time we have 6 equal parts to make up 1 whole, just like our hotel example. All right? So that is the end of this lesson. I want you to go ahead and try that example out for yourself. So what you can do is get a piece of paper, and I'll show a video of me doing this right now. All right, so if you guys want to try this out yourself, I recommend getting 2 pieces of paper. 1 piece of paper for you to record what fractions you find, and 1 sheet of paper to practice making your equivalent fractions. So, for example, if I have 1 sheet of paper, that is my 1 whole. But what happens if I fold the sheet of paper? Now I have 2 equal parts of my paper. So 2 halves is equal to 1 whole. I can come over here and record it on my sheet. 1 whole is equal to 2 halves. Now I'm gonna keep folding my paper and trying to find out how many other equivalent fractions I can make from 1 sheet of paper. Go ahead, give it a try just like we did in our previous examples, and send me a picture. Let me know how many equivalent fractions you can think of to go with 1 whole while you're making your own example. Good luck and have fun doing it, guys.